lovely friends, it's Margaret and it's time to chat about books. You know the drill. New month, new list of books to read. I have not learned anything since last month because I was on, I think, 10 books last month. In my defense, I did finish 13 books, but only 8 of them were the 10 books I originally planned on reading. Things that you need to know. So the first one is I'm going to be participating in Emoji-a-thon, and that is part of this TBR. If you haven't seen the title already, I'm assuming you have. But I was like looking at the Emoji-a-thon prompts, and I was like, half of these are across the room from me. I was like, half of these are things that I'm already reading. I have a book that's my favorite color. I think I actually, no, I have 2 books that have my favorite color on them. So we are going to start out with the most important book that I will be reading this month, and that is Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief, the illustrated edition. I'm so happy they're doing this. Can you tell? Back in July, Margaret was lying in bed one night and she thought, read-alongs are sure fun. I would love to do a read-along on my favorite series. And then I thought, I know 2 people who would be interested in doing that with me. So I contacted Kenzie Lee T and Min Kobayashi, and they both said, yes, we want to do a Percy Jackson read-along. So from September until January, we will be reading through the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series, starting with The Lightning Thief this month. The 15th, I am hosting a 12 and 34? On the 15th of September, I will be hosting a 12 and 24 read-along. You don't have to be reading The Lightning Thief, but it's mostly so that people who are reading The Lightning Thief can just kind of sit down and read it. So this is going to be, for Emoji-a-thon, this is going to count as my book that I read in under 24 hours. Because I'm going to do that. It's like a 6-hour book. Maybe a little more because I'm going to be taking notes because I annotate things now, apparently. But not in this book. I have a separate copy that we will be annotating in. The next book I want to talk to you guys about is I am still reading Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I am still planning on getting a new episode of Read the Book to you guys this month. I'm still making my way through this. Hopefully it will be finished before the end of the month. Hopefully actually it'll be finished by like the end of next week. I guess this one technically counts for giving the author a second chance. Because I was not impressed with this the first time. But I'm doing this Read the Book series, so this has a movie adaptation. I'm also participating in like 3 buddy reads. 2 of them are with Dane Cobain. I will link below. We were reading Treasure Island this week, which I am listening to as an audiobook. For Emoji-a-thon, that is going to count for the audiobook and the book that happens on a boat challenges. I don't even know how I'm doing with this bingo board thing. And then the next one that I am going to be buddy reading with Dane Cobain is Paper Towns by John Green. I listened to this a couple of years ago. I would like to read it. It is not my favorite John Green book. My favorite John Green book is An Abundance of Catherines, but I think that's an unpopular opinion. But like that was the one that had the best humor in my opinion and the happiest ending, and Margaret is all about the happy endings, guys. Nice, happy endings that are tied up and no one's dead, and not at all like that one book that will not be mentioned. We start that buddy read next week. This is going to count for the Emoji-a-thon challenge of read a book that takes place in the outdoors, because there is outdoors in this book. They end up in the outdoors. More than I want to be in the outdoors, honestly. We're going to be honest. I forgot to say this is under 24 hours and also book by favorite author, because he is my favorite author despite the fact that he shames the movie fans continually. The next one I'm going to be reading, I'm buddy reading with Kenzie at Kenzie Lee T, and that is Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody. This is counting for the books I said I would read and never did. I'm not getting into synopses this time around, guys. I can't. I'm sorry. If you want to know more about the Percy Jackson book, I can link you up top to the Demigods Anonymous announcement for our read-along. But that's about it. This is going to be my buddy read with Kenzie Lee T. She was like, I need to read this book. And I was like, I need to read this book. Would you like to buddy read this book? And so we're buddy reading it this month, apparently. The next book I want to talk about is Catwoman Soul Stealer by Sarah J. Maas. I have started this book. I'm not sure how I feel about this book. I am 100 pages in. I'm not quite sure how I feel about this book. She's made some interesting interpretive choices. But it's Selena Kyle, so I'm going to read it. And I'm probably going to enjoy it, even if it deviates far from things I think are appropriate for Catwoman. Not appropriate, like accurate. It doesn't help that I know like every different version of her backstory. This is going to count for a book that is my favorite color, a book that reminds me of my favorite song, which is currently Back to You by Selena Gomez. It's like my writing jam right now. And then, I mean, technically, it could count for characters that are in college, even though no one's actually in college, but they're all college age. Next book I'm going to read is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. Now, I haven't read this before. Loved it. I listened to it, so I really want to actually read it before the movie comes out. And if I read it this month, I will not hate the movie for all the tiny details it gets wrong. I actually tend to be kind of lenient with movie adaptations, which is why Read the Book is so much fun for me. This is going to count for read a book that covers a social justice issue and a book that you've been seeing everywhere, because I've been seeing it everywhere. Everyone's been seeing it everywhere. I think you have to have been under a rock to have not seen it. This was in one of my top 10 books of 2017, so that tells you how much I like it. I'm also doing I guess it's a read-along, just a random read-along with Katie from Books and Things. She is doing a read-along to The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield. I have no idea what this is about. She just said she was reading it and it was good, and what she said about it was interesting, and so I have no idea what this is about, but I think it's kind of like a mystery thriller type book, which means I don't want to know much about what it's about. And then finally, we've got 2 graphic novels that I will be reading. The first one is A Wonder Woman Rebirth Volume 5, The Heart of the Amazon. This is counting for predicted 5-star read. I have loved all the previous 4 volumes of Wonder Woman, which is amazing. If you have watched my Wonder Woman Warbringer review, I'll link it up there. I go into the fact that I don't Diana was not my favorite character until about 2 years ago when I realized my internalized misogyny. Or something like that. And this is also going to count as read a diverse book because the cast of Wonder Woman has been updated and is beautifully diverse now. So that's it. The other graphic novel I will be reading is Aquaman Rebirth Volume 1, The Drowning. You know the movie's coming out, so I gotta get up to date on my Arthur Curry. This was going to be my book for under 100 pages, but looking at my previous graphic novels, they end up being about 150, so I might have to find something else for that one. But it's going to be instead my book takes place in a place that is not where you live, because it takes place in Atlantis, so I definitely do not live in Atlantis. That is my September TBR. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 9 physical books on that TBR. This should be fun, guys. Yep, there are so many books I want to read. I still haven't gotten to Acomath. I want to read Gemina. Why do I not have more time? Why? Adulting is so hard because you just want to read all of the books and you can't because you gotta pay bills and stuff. That is my TBR for September. Let me know if you've read any of these books, what you thought of them, if you enjoyed them. If you're going to be reading any of them this month, let me know. Feel free to jump on the train and read with us. Read with me. I'm on Twitter. I will be talking about them in long threads on Twitter as I read them with random vague reactions because I like doing that. Speaking of my Twitter, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I talk about books and writing on both of those platforms. Not so much the writing on Instagram, but I'm gonna get back into that because last month was just crazy. I was running my own challenge and crazy. Also, don't forget to check out Demigods Anonymous if you are at all interested in reading the Percy Jackson series. Listen, even if you don't think you can read The Lightning Thief this month, you could totally read The Lightning Thief and Sea of Monsters next month when we will be doing Sea of Monsters, but that's getting ahead of ourselves and we don't do spoilers here on this channel, except that we do. That is it for now, my friends. I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy and nerdy things. Bye!